Hey guys, it's Mike here with Trendsetter Shaving. Welcome back. There's been a lot of videos out there on blades and blade review, and there's just so many different blades out there, and everybody's face is different. So everybody's going to have a different opinion for the most part on what's the sharpest, what's the dullest, what's the best one, what's the most comfortable one, what one really sucks. You know, it varies for everybody, but most guys that have a heavy beard or a heavier set beard like I do kind of tend to lean more towards some of the stuff I'm going to show you guys as far as my personal preference of blades. And like I said, it does vary for everybody, so you know, the contents of this video don't take entirely to heart. Find out for yourself. Go buy a mixed pack of blades off of Amazon or something. Find out what works for you. I mean, the best way to do it, how I did it, is I bought a mixed pack of probably about 25 to 50 blades. And what I would do is I would use it for about 2 or 3 shaves, maybe more, per blade. And then I would write on a notebook or a piece of paper, or even in your phone on a notepad in the phone. I would just put, 1 through 5 rating on it, and how I felt it performed, and what blade it was. That way I could remember when I went back to that, to know when I wanted to actually buy a pack of blades, what one I was going to want and what one performed well through my testing and my researching of my blades. So there's that, guys, and we're just going to get into this here real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on blades. Like I said, it's not something that I feel is really that necessary. But it's something that does need to be touched on for some of you guys getting into this, because I feel like there's a lot of confusion out there. I've watched some of these small-time shave videos and stuff of guys a little bit under my level, and even a couple of guys even above my level, that I don't know if they knew necessarily what all they were talking about with blades. Most of your bigger guys out there, like Anthony and Nick Shaves and Geo Fatboy and Busta, those are good guys to listen to. Those guys know what they're doing. But there's been a lot of shave videos just popping up left and right, man, where a lot of people are just getting cross information on stuff. So I'm just going to try to clarify some of that for you on these blades, and let's get into it, guys. Alright, so like I said, guys, everyone is different, but this is my arrangement as far as my opinion on these, from crappiest and dullest all the way up to what would be the sharpest and best, okay? And I don't have every blade here. I don't have a lot of the ones that were still in my starter pack, like the Treat blades and the Notch It, and a lot of those are Pakistani blades, and a lot of them, almost all of them, are Pakistani, Egyptian, or Gillette. And there's not a big variance in that as far as the packaging after a while. So I tried to get a real good mixture for you guys, was kind of the goal. That's why I didn't want to just throw out everything. But I'm just going to go down the line here, and then I will kind of talk about each blade, and I think that's really all we can do for this. So the Darkos, first of all, not a very good blade. They're usually a manufacturing sent blade with like a Weishi or any sort of just cheap razor like that. I think they may even come with the Micro Touch razor, the butterfly door one. They're just a really basic generic blade, and just not very sharp. And that could be me because I have a little bit thicker beard, but for me, not that sharp. But your industry standard blade, and the one that a lot of barbers and stuff use, would be this guy right here, and that's the Derby blade. Now, a lot of people actually do like this. I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, for me, it kind of depends what I'm shaving. If I'm shaving the back of my neck and maybe like tightening up my hairlines and stuff when I do some of my barber work and hair cutting, I do like it. But as far as a full shave, not a big fan. However, it does do well in a shavette. Depending on who you're shaving with it or whatever. But as far as myself and personal preference, really just not into it. Now this is the McCord blades that come with the McCord razors, and they're just, I don't know, not the best to me. You know, German made blade, they do okay, maybe for like if you're a one-time use, if you want to just try out the razor. But I hate to say it, I kind of think that's all they are, is just a one-time use deal that's sent with the razor, basically. Okay, now here comes the middle point of this, which would be the big controversy, which is the straw blades. A lot of people really hate them. They think they're crap, they think they're dull, they just entirely hate them. Me, for whatever reason, I like them. They work pretty good for me. Now, I don't know if that's because they're platinum coated very well or what the deal is, but I have noticed they only work exceptionally well for me when I use this stuff right here, Perazzo. And it's weird because when I use my Colonel Conk or anything else, they do okay, but not as good. So for whatever reason, this combination here, the Perazzo and the straw blades, usually works out alright for me. And they're kind of a medium dullness, sharpness, whatever you want to call it. So they're actually, you know, in my preference and in my advice to you guys, Astra is a good place to start. You know, if you want something a little bit better than a Derby and a little bit better than a Dorka, not a bad place to start. I'd say they're probably about the equivalent of like a Shark blade. A little bit cheaper though. Now these guys here, this is going to throw you off. This is actually the City Market or King Soopers brand. And they're just a basic, generic looking razor. But I find it kind of odd because they're almost the same grade or quality of the Personas for a much cheaper price. And you get a lot more in there. There's 20 of them in there. And even on the back of this case, it has a place to put your used ones, which I find pretty convenient. And it's just nice to have a little travel case if you're someone who travels a lot. So I thought that was kind of interesting with these, for them just being a no-name, off-the-wall, you know, household name for King Soopers. Really not a bad blade. So they're probably about, you know, a 4 or so on the sharpness scale, as far out of 4 out of 5, you know. And this right here is the Vanderhagen blades, even though it doesn't say that on there, which would be Target's brand. And Walgreens as well carries this. Walmart's actually starting to carry it. All the Vanderhagen stuff. So I'm not sure if it's necessarily specific to Target. My guess would be no. But they're not a bad blade. I mean, they're pretty decent. The thing I don't like about them is I don't really get too many shaves out of one. I get maybe 2 shaves out of it. And after that, it's crap and it's trash and it's done. And I just don't like that. I like to at least get 3 shaves out of a blade. Next would be my Gillette 7 o'clocks. And these are actually along the lines of the Gillette Super Steel Blues or Super Steels. I mean, Gillette's a Gillette for the most part on the blades. You know, because Gillette's been in the game so long, it's kind of like how much can they manipulate manufacturing on one thing to another, because for the most part what they manufacture is all the same guidelines as far as their quality control. So the only thing really different on these would be the coating. Some of them are platinum coating, some of them aren't even coated, some of them are just laminate, you know, and whatnot. So as long as you get a Gillette blade, you know, if that's something you want to try and you find out you like it, at that point in the game, when you find out you like Gillette blades, it's not going to matter what one it is, because they're all pretty much the same. They're all pretty close. It's not going to be a big enough variance that you're going to notice it, at least in my opinion. Okay, now the Personas are getting up here with like the 5 out of 5 on sharpness. And for me, I really like these things, especially with my open comb. They do an excellent job in that open comb. And it's kind of weird because my closed safety bar razors, they don't do so well in. But on a slant or an open comb, this thing just annihilates. It's crazy. Does really, really good. And there's the Persona Blues and Persona Blue Labs out there. I usually just get the reds because, in all honesty, I've used all three, and these are pretty much just the same as the other two. I didn't really notice a difference. And actually, the one thing I did notice was that I got a little bit less irritation or razor burn with the reds. Don't know why, couldn't tell you, but very sharp blade, very affordable, and you can get anywhere from 3 to 4 shaves out of one, which is nice. And lastly would be the Feather. Our friends over there in Japan make these, and I don't know, it's a mixed thought for me. They are one of the sharpest blades out there, and I know Geo Fatboy uses these a lot. I don't know. I'm not really the biggest fan on them. I feel like if I have them in my slant or open comb, they just rip me apart. But if I put them in my 65 Gillette or my closed combs, something that's a more mild razor, they actually help that razor perform a little bit better. So it's kind of a toss-up. If you have a razor that's not maybe the most aggressive razor, but you want it a little sharper, that's a good way to go, is to just put a really sharp feather in there. But if you have a really aggressive razor and it's irritating the crap out of you, I would suggest putting something more middle grade in it. Like a Gillette, Persona, even an Astra, something like that. Because these things are just, they really kind of scare me, honestly. I haven't even tried one in a Chevette yet. And the reason being on that is, for one, they're a much thicker blade. So I'm not even sure if I could snap it in half. I haven't even tried yet. But just because of how sharp and how thick they are, I don't know if I even want to attempt that in a Chevette. But there you go, guys. That is most of the blades that I use. That's most of my lineup for them. And this last bit here I really don't even use that much. It's more just the Astras and these guys here, these 4, that I use a lot. And I kind of mix it up as to how my skin is feeling that day. If I got really irritated skin that's really sensitive, I usually go for, something a little bit more the mild side or medium side. And if I know I can handle a lot of sharpness that day, I'll go upwards of these guys. And it fluctuates with what razor I'm using as well. But I mean, that's a real good way to get it going and get a judge of what you want to use and how to use it. It's just how your face feels that day, man. So there you go. I hope that was some information to help you guys out on blades. What's out there, what's sharp, what's not. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at Trendsetter Shaving. And other than that, get your shave on, gents. We will see you next time.